spots that are close at hand. The open road is calling loud and clear. Miles of freedom stretching far and near. At the Offsiders Roadhouse we will stay, filling up before we ride away through the desert heat or city lights, trucking through Australian days and nights.
Hello YouTube, Brady back for another Aussie adventure in trucking. I better add that bit, otherwise I might get copyright. Where are we? We are heading up the Great Western Highway westbound from Sydney over the Blue Mountains. To all the geography teachers out there that commented last week I got that wrong. What have we been up to today? Well, we've been into Sydney, back into Melrose Park, unloading bathroom pods like you've seen in a previous video. Sitting around waiting for the crane to do its thing. A bit of rain overnight, so a bit of mud laying around, which my counterpart in his nice polished 200 Kenworth probably is swearing his head off at the moment all about having to climb back in the truck with muddy boots, but that's trucking, that's construction sites for you. So so as I said, we are heading west up the Great Western Highway over the Blue Mountains away from Sydney. In the last video I had a few of yous comment that Mount Ousley, well, let's say Mount Victoria was worse than Ousley, along with some other locations. I've been warned off Macquarie Pass, so I probably won't even go and try that one, but because we're heading west, we're going to go up over the top of Mount Victoria and drop down off that, and as they say, what goes up must come down. And just to reiterate, going down Ousley was only my second time going down there and going into Wollongong. This is my second time coming up over here. I come up over here last week and got to witness Mount Victoria. The couple of days after that video went up, and people were saying how bad Mount Victoria is, so we're going to go and have a look and give it a go. This is not what you have to do. This is just from the experience I have going down hills, experience driving this automatic truck. This is how I do it. This is how I do it. This is how I'm always going to do it. I'm not plastering all over social media trying to get the likes and all that sort of stuff. This is just part of the channel and a little snippet into what some drivers in the industry have to deal with these downhill, these mountain passes. Because I commented in the video, I haven't done Toowoomba Range. I've done Atherton Tablelands. I haven't done whatever that big one is behind Cairns. I've done High Range behind Townsville in a 5-speed Mack with typical Mack engine brakes, Dynatard on that. So please don't take this as absolute gospel on downhill descents and all that sort of stuff. But, oh, poor puppy. But as I said, what goes up must come down, so let's get over this final rise and start our descent down Mount Victoria. Alright, here we go with Mount Victoria. That's that threw me for a loop, that Chinese truck having that vocal reverse beeper like that. I'd never heard that before. Oh, hello train. Toot toot. Tell you what, there's some engineering marvels in this country. Roads up over the top of mountains like this is one. Rail up over the top of mountains like this is a complete other one. Engineers back in the day out here doing the surveys, putting a path for rail to go up over big hills like this is pretty special stuff. So obviously now in the town of Mount White, I assume. Not quite ready to drop down yet. I do apologise for the state of the windscreen. I had misty, light rain coming up through Goulburn and that this morning. Nothing heavy enough to wash the bugs of the grime off, so unfortunately when it's like that it just smears and makes a mess of things, which is great for when you're trying to video something out the front window. But there is our first warning, steep descent 1 kilometre ahead. After doing this last week, while yes, there felt like a couple of steep sections with a couple of tighter corners than Ousley, I don't think it didn't seem as long as the descent as what Ousley is. Since that video has come out, learning that Ousley's about a 10% gradient. I think someone commented that Adelaide Hills is 14 to 18% downhill gradient, so obviously a bit steeper. I think Adelaide Hills are a lot longer, but the main one with that is going down. Not only have you got descent, but you've got the possibility of needing to come to a complete stop at the bottom of it as well with the intersection that's there. But we're getting our notification for 40 k's, so bring her back down. We're in 8th. Put her in hold again just to see if it's steeper than Ousley, then this won't hold us. If it's not as steep as Mount Ousley, it will hold us and we won't have to use as much exhaust brake. But currently on setting 2, foot's off the brake. To those ex-highway patrol and truckies with 500 years experience that commented last week, the not being allowed to touch your foot on the brake, that come from Rod Hennepy. Now, don't know the man myself. I've just heard he's highly respected in the community, trucking community, in the industry. Maybe it was just a little bit of banter on a late night or early morning FM radio station that conversation come up, and it was elaborated on. The truth was stretched a little bit just to entertain, but he's the one that said you can get in trouble for braking downhill or braking a certain amount of times downhill because you're then not in control of the vehicle. And there's a couple of commenters that said that your brakes are there to use. Well, yes, so's your high beam, but you're not allowed to use it within 200 metres of oncoming traffic, as per the law. So this is a nice little hairpin. Trailer's cutting in a little bit, but we're not using the whole lane. I must say, Ousley has a couple of sneak peeks out over the over to the Port Kembla and the coast, but that's pretty spectacular views there off the Blue Mountains, looking back to the southwest. Probably should do a little bit faster than 30, but we've got this ridge in front of us that's probably doesn't have as effective exhaust brakes as us, so there's no one behind us. It's 2 lanes down, just taking the time. That bump there is probably going to break traction. Look at the views out there. One thing I need to check is where the train line actually comes down off this mountain pass. So it winds its way all the way up here. Can't see a big bridge, even though we got this nice little rock, almost like a castle wall there that we're driving over. So the exhaust brake, we are empty of course, the exhaust brakes are holding us up, so I don't know if you can even compare this to Mount Ousley. They're both different. You got some steep bits, it peters out a little bit like back there, and then you get back into some steeper stuff. The only difference here is you get these overtaken lanes disappear halfway down. And granted, this is faster than I come down last time too. I had two tippers in front of me that were, I'd assume, loaded because they're only doing about 32k an hour down here. We're going to have a nice little view here back again to the southwest. Very steep resting bay there. I reckon if you come, no, we're not going to have a view. I reckon if you come down fast enough, you're nearly going to bottom out at the bottom before you go up and have to slow down. And of course, last time I come down here, Highway Patrol were at the bottom of the hill, booking a car for, I'd assume, coming down here too quick. So that's at the end of it anyway. We're at the bottom. You have your average speed cameras there. Again, only going off the sign. Same with Mount Ousley. When the sign says speed camera ahead, I assume it's a speed camera. I don't think, as some of you said, some of them were noise cameras or noise detectors. Those signs have since been removed. So, yeah. But we're down in this beautiful valley. It's a nice big escarpment country up there. It's absolutely fantastic. Between Katoomba and Lithgow, but we're going to turn off down here. Channel members, we've got the list up here. Thank you for your support of the channel. Please consider joining the channel membership, get behind the scenes videos, all that sort of stuff. If you are still watching now, and most aren't, but yeah, think about it. Channel members, you are going to see the rest of this trip. Once this video ends, we're going to keep on going down here to the Jellone Caves turn-off and make our way up over some pretty more spectacular country to Oberon. But for the rest of the peoples, for YouTube, for me, I'm Brad again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Next time we might get back to the boring stuff with loading steel and maybe carting some concrete panels as well, but that'll be for the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.